My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast. And
Coming to you live from the vegan fact-finding mission.
Yeah, apparently it was a vegan fact-finding mission. Let's go with that, shall we?
I don't know. I'm trying to be serious, because vegans are always serious.
Ernest. You know it was Vegan
Ernest.
Week?
How did you know it was Vegan Week?
Oh, they told us.
They fucking told us.
Oh, they told us. It was Vegan Week. Did you all know it was Vegan Week at home?
Are you vegan?
Are you vegan? Some people might be vegan. There are people in that episode. You know what? They were vegan.
Baby hippos are crying because you're not vegan.
So it was Vegan Week.
Yes.
So
Cows are our friends. They just want to be your friend.
okay, so you
friend.
have to now tell that story. So we're opening Vegan Week with a story already.
Okay.
So
about cows.
So the story about the cows is I was at a conference and there was a speaker that decided to talk about, it was a big history conference and they were talking about how the planet was going to be saved, and this speaker was one of the ones who got up and said the reason why the planet is dying is cows, and and talked about beef propagation, and someone will get on Twitter and go, but you see, I don't care, steak is delicious. And they were talking about cows and how rather than killing all the cows, we should befriend the cows.
And so I got a bit creative because Chris has a whiteboard in his bedroom. Not a big one, just a little one to put his reminders and stuff up on. And so I got there and got a little, drawery and drew a cow and put a little speech bubble that said, "Be my friend.
I'm a cow, be my friend." And it was absolutely brilliant. And to this day, it's still on the board.
Yes.
It's been almost 5 years, and it's still on the board. So Vegan Week. Now, yes. I know there are some people out there right now going, but British Bakeoff has done this. Well,
yeah, they have, but let's think about the timing, right? And there's a few other sections, too. So first of all, the timing. Great Australian was filmed 18 months ago.
18 months ago.
Okay.
We're allowed to say that.
And we understand that every single iteration of Bakeoff around the world needs
They talk to each other.
They talk to each other and they share ideas. And we're pretty sure that Australian submitted their ideas for a Vegan Week.
You're jumping ahead a little bit in terms of being. We're pretty sure. The inspiration for this episode in British Bakeoff came from Australian Bakeoff. It's just that Australian Bakeoff didn't go to air. Literally, it didn't go to air.
Yeah.
So it's first but second.
Yes. We're recolonising Britain.
Yeah, we're recolonising Britain and we're reclaiming Vegan Week. And that's not a phrase I ever really wanted to say. There are many other things I'd rather be reclaimed, but apparently we're reclaiming Vegan Week.
See, the other thing I thought you were about to say is that, it's Vegan Week. It's going to be... there's something we have to say, which is it's divisive. People either love it or hate it.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into that. So, Vegan Week is a very divisive week. Now, Twitter is split down the middle in terms of some people loved it and thought it was great. Some people didn't particularly care for it. Mm-hmm. And it was Vegan Week. Did you know? It was Vegan Week.
Oh, okay.
So I had to let you know that.
Okay, good.
So, I personally, it was really interesting for me. Because, the problem I think, and a lot of the thing that the reason why most people give vegans shit, is not necessarily because of their beliefs. It's not because of their beliefs, or it's not because of what they eat. It's literally not. It's what we're carrying on with do you know I'm a vegan?
It's the...
self-righteousness.
It's the self-righteousness that can be a bit hard to swallow. And there's a lot of people who are vegan who don't engage in that kind of thing and don't rock up to people's farms and stalk them and, steal livestock and then can end up having to kill that livestock.
It's tricky.
It's tricky. Okay, so for me, it's like when people talk about how they have to change their eating because they want to improve their health or diet and stuff. It's fabulous. Shut the fuck up about it. What you eat, unless it's positive and you're enjoying it. Food in our culture is so complex and it's so nuanced. We live in a world where we have a glut of food in some areas and no food in other areas. And then even within, first world countries like ours in Australia, you have people who have access to food really easily. You have people who have not only access to food but access to time and the funding in order to buy better quality food. And then you have people who are from a lower socioeconomic background who don't have the time because they live further out from their jobs and more to do so that they don't have access to as good a quality food. And then you have people who can who have to literally choose between rent and food because their New Start allowance or their disability pension will not allow them to pay for the basics in life. Even if you're eating staples, that's what we've seen. There is so much that goes on with food. Oh, and then we have diet culture and we have the whole, shaming thing about food and moralizing thing. Like, this is good food, this is bad food. Oh, I shouldn't eat that cake. Oh, it's terrible. It's like, you're not fucking burning down a fucking orphanage, Sharon. Just eat the fucking cake. You have so much going on that... Oh, and we know that there are shit practices with meat and with food production and stuff. But the thing is, what I find interesting is that when you're looking at food from that perspective about the harm it can do, okay, so eating an animal, killing it outright, sure, that's harmful. However, what I feel is when you start to go down that track is then you have, the issues with land clearing and the wildlife, not sanctuaries, but habitats that you're destroying to actually produce non-animal based food. So you can fall down rabbit holes with this thing. And I think that when we start putting value on people's choices or their access or anything, particularly in relation to food, it takes the joy out of it and it isolates people rather than actually just embracing and I've been guilty of it. I've been like shitty and whinged about people who are vegan or gluten-free in the past, and I now realise that sometimes it's a choice, sometimes it's not a choice, and it shouldn't fucking matter. It should just be embraced because food is the one thing that we know can build communities. It is a practice that we do socially to share a meal. And particularly because I work with people who, some of them lose the ability to actually eat food. And so not only do they lose the ability to enjoy like the mouthfeel, as Maggie would put it, or the flavours and stuff, but they also start to become socially isolated because what's the point of going to a restaurant? One, because it's fucking wheelchair inaccessible. But you're just sitting there while other people are eating. It can be... So, moral of the story, the point I'm getting to is... You just don't need to be so fucking uptight about it. Just enjoy your fucking food. Okay? Just enjoy the food. Stop making people feel guilty if they make other choices. There's a lot of fucking context there. You know what brought me over to vegan food and enjoying it and not seeing it as something that I should avoid just for the fucking point of it? Is it the stuff I ate? It's fucking delicious. Just serve food. Make it fucking delicious.
Secret Creek Cafe.
Yes.
Great vegan food.
Fucking delicious.
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, the cafe near my work.
Yeah.
Makes some delicious vegan treats. I had a vegan bar today that was tahini and cocoa. Oh, it's fucking fabulous. Just make it delicious.
Wonderful. So anyway, Vegan Week.
We haven't even gone to the opening yet, have we?
I haven't even got to the opening. I vaguely threw to you for one comment.
Oh my God.
And we're in the middle of Food Rant Story Time, which I love though.
But you know what? I feel like because it's Vegan Week, I just...
Had to moralise.
Osmosed the moral...
It's okay, Kristie, because you know what?
What?
It's Vegan Week. So, anyway.
Get to the food.
Now that Kristie said we shouldn't make fun of anyone for their food choices, I am going to proceed to do just that all the way through the episode. Because I am not held to the same high moral standards that Kristie holds herself to. So, with that in mind, let's talk about Vestus Pistofferum.
Look, it really is... I don't know if they're going for more of a Lady Chatterley's lover.
I swear there is a Lady Chatterley's vibe being built out of this storyline of Matt the gardener.
Yeah, he's there, he's like kind of like sleeveless, he's just in there gardening away. Like, next I want to see Maggie just like behind him reclining, like just someone fanning her and she's drinking some iced tea and watching the gardener.
No, she saves
his hands deep into the earth.
She saves that for Stately Beer Manor. She saves that for Stately Be Matter, and when she watches the Vergisfelds being done.
Yeah.
But what he actually reminded me of, for anyone who's seen any of The Bachelorette this season, he's starting to remind me of Ryan the dog guy.
Ow.
He's getting the bald head, and he's a little bit surly in his vest in the garden. And it's just very Ryan the dog guy kind of vibes from me, really. It's what I'm sort of seeing out of it. So, Anston opened up by saying, "This is my week." Literally, it's my week. I'm a vegan.
Anston.
Now,
look, I can understand why he's so excited, because
he can eat things.
He can go around and taste everyone's bakes.
And as we also found out...
all accessible.
But as we also found out...
What?
Angela, also a vegan, but was not as confident. He was like, I'm a vegan, this is literally my week. I can finally taste things, I can finally eat things. I'm going to crush this week, this is mine. And Angela's like, I'm a vegan as well, but I don't really know how I'm going to go this week. It could be a challenge. Like, I don't want to lose vegan week.
Let's put this into perspective, right? He's Anston, I'm a vegan and proud. And sure, okay, so butter and eggs are byproducts of animals. You don't have to kill an animal to get their eggs or to get the butter, like the cream, to churn up the butter. However, the pork he needed to use in week 1.
I know.
That didn't come from like a...
He did admit that he was breaching many vegan guidelines.
It's not like the cow at the end of the universe.
I do want to point out, by the way, that there were a few people talking when they knew Vegan Week was up. There was conversations during the week about Vegan Week, and a lot of people said, "Oh, they're going to be using honey because they won't rule that out." No, they went full vegan, no dairy, no eggs. No honey.
Because it's also coming down to exploiting the animal.
Exactly, and that was the thing.
Which is where you get people then going the next step and
asking for permission from the bee.
No. Going the next step and using breast milk to make ice cream and stuff.
No. Go and knock on the hive. Hello? Can I borrow some honey, neighbour? Was that yes in B? The queen of accents strikes again.
It was yes in B.
She's talking in B now.
Saw a bee today in the garden.
You have a conversation? You speak fluently.
Yes, I did.
So, anyway.
How's the pollen gathering? Going quite well.
All of this laughter, before we get to the signature, I
think they were actually perving on the ladybugs that were mating vigorously on the rose bush. Just a pervy bee.
Of course they were. And now, being the very professional podcast host that I am, I will segue from humping ladybugs to something that's actually serious we have to talk about before the signature, which is they did announce before the signature that Laura was still unwell.
Yep.
And that as a result of her illness, while she was on the mend, she was not going to be able to take her place, and therefore she was no longer going to be in the competition.
Fair enough.
And look, I feel really bad for Laura, but that's the right decision. I felt last week was the right decision in terms of she wasn't at risk last week, so they had to play it as though there was every chance she was coming back and give her a chance to heal. And as they said at the same time, we'd love to have her back in there, but her health is the most important thing.
Yep.
And
I'd like her to see her do a Eureka, like from RuPaul's Drag Race, because Eureka did her knee in, I think it was season 9. So they brought her back for season 10.
That could be fun. But it was sort of, again, it was a really sad moment. It was good to hear everyone talking really positive about Laura. Just, I'm missing her. I'm looking around. I'm expecting her to be baking over there.
She would have killed this week.
I'm also going to say straight up that I'm happy that they still sent someone home this week.
Absolutely.
I think that
no free passes.
There will be a week, I'm pretty certain.
But they won't send anyone home?
There's going to have to be, just for the balance of the show.
Otherwise we'll be shortchanged.
Yeah, so
and they'll end up replaying something horrendous.
We refuse point blank to be shortchanged.
Maybe they'll show the first episode of the Channel 9.
No one will ever show that.
I'm sure that's gone to the Australian Film and Television Vault and just been destroyed by accident on purpose in one of their kilns.
I'm sure Shane Jacobson has a copy of it just under his spa area at his house. Like Molly Meldrum used to store all the countdown tapes.
The Jacobson jacuzzi.
Molly Meldrum used to store all the countdown tapes at his house because ABC threatened to wipe them all.
Really?
So Molly Meldrum drove in one afternoon with a couple of cars and literally just, the only reason we still have countdown is Molly Meldrum smuggled the tapes out of the ABC when they were going to record over them.
What a smart dude.
He got in on the weekend and just loaded the car and drove out.
Drug-addled for allegedly.
No, do yourself a favour. But more importantly so Laura leaves the competition. I think that I think it's good they didn't do it, because if they're going to have a week where they don't send someone home, I think everyone needs advanced warning. I think that's fair. That if they're not going to send someone home, we all need an advanced warning on when they're going to do it. So it's fair for everybody, and
it can also be a week maybe that people just fucking ace, and that's what they're waiting for.
Yeah.
Is either giving that grace where there's a week where there's no obvious.
Yep.
Because we do have a lot of strong bakers in the shed.
We've said all the way along that people are being sent home not because they're bad, but because everyone's good.
Yeah.
And you've got to send someone home. Like, you've got to at some point. Otherwise, you'll have a really big grand final, and that doesn't work. You can't get that many family members to come in and stand it. There's not enough room around the shed for all the family members to stand at the side of it and cheer people on. It doesn't work like that. No. So, the signature. We're finally there. It was a vegan sweet baked slice.
Yep.
3 layers. That became a bit of a sticking point. The base must be baked.
Yep.
Which is handy in a baking competition. 12 identical pieces. David took that to a new level. And 2 hours. Now, I felt when you had Don walk in and Don's like, I'm a meat person. I'm not. And like, David's like, me too. And Wynn's like, me too. And again, my heart soared. I love a steak. I'm sorry, vegans. I'm not having a go at you. You know it's vegan week. Anyway, yeah, look, I thought that was going to be really interesting, because we said veganism is really divisive. The concept of this is really divisive. And more importantly, this is a show that has thrived on the phrase, how good's butter? And
now it's how good's olive oil.
Well, yeah, this year there's been a lot of how good's olive oil, or how good's vegetable ghee. We'll come to that in a moment. And again, all I can think of, and I've mentioned this a few times whenever we've talked about vegan or vegetarian cooking, is Cooking with Korma, the SBS vegetarian/vegan cooking show from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Never saw it.
It was because it was the only way I learned about what ghee was. Because he just kept on talking about ghee.
Was it a guy from Govinda's?
He might have been, actually. By the way, I like Govinda's. I'm just going to put it out there. I love Govinda's food.
I've never been there.
I'm not a fan of their beanbags.
I'm not a fan of beanbags since I was like 6.
I have a beanbag in the cupboard. I've never filled it up.
Don't.
No,
why would you do that?
Your sister bought it for me.
Oh.
First Christmas I was in the family, she bought me a beanbag. But knowing we have cats, and they would probably cut the beanbag open and swallow all the polystyrene inside. So it's been in the cupboard the whole time.
We've had to get rid of fern, cotton.
Yes, we did actually have to get rid of our fern because the cat ate it. So, speaking of things you can eat, well, cats can't eat ferns. You couldn't have dairy, you couldn't have eggs, you couldn't have honey, but there were replacements like maple syrup.
Yep, chickpea juice.
Oh, don't start me on the chickpea cream. We're going to have a conversation about chickpea cream. Note, it's not going to be good. So
yes, but you can have maple syrup.
So Sue.
Molasses.
So Sue made mamul, pistachio and rose water, and she was using vegetable ghee. Now, when the judges were talking about Sue's bake later on, they didn't say it at the time, but when they got to the end and were talking about who was in the line for Star Baker and who was in trouble, they said, oh, Sue's was far more of a biscuit than a slice. And I'm like, you didn't say that at the time. It was, but they didn't bother to say that at the time.
And what I found interesting with their critique is that they were, before it was served, and she's pulled it out and she's about to dust it with a little heart on it, she's gone, oh, it's drier than I usually make. And Maggie picked up that it was dry.
Yep.
And then
They judged it,
said it was dry. And then Sue didn't seem quite happy.
She got very defensive about the fact that it was dry. She's like, people like it like that. Like, it was dry. You even said it was dry. You told us it was dry. Like,
and way to troll a farmer there, you know. Poor Matt. There's a drought on, Sue.
There's a drought, Sue. Don't troll Farmer Matt. When Farmer Matt tells you it's dry, it's dry.
And we found out later on that had, I'm pretty sure it's got a foundation to that.
I'm pretty sure too. Let's move on. So, Anston made the Black Forest slice.
Looked delish.
It did look good. I will admit there is a different look to like the cake mixtures and like slice mixtures when it's got the alternative ingredients in there. Like I can't say that while he was mixing it, it looked appealing. Like the cherries sitting in that sort of... It's supposed to be was chocolate and all that, but it didn't have the creaminess. So it looked like it was sitting in a chocolate sludge. And then they mentioned that they were doing the chickpea cream. And look, I like chickpeas in certain things. Usually savoury Indian food, for example. But
like toasted chickpeas.
Yeah, you are a big fan of toasted chickpeas in a flattened format.
And chickpeas make poppadoms.
That's what I'm saying. You are a fan of chickpea in their flattened format.
Yes. You want some poppadoms and
look, I am very open for Anston or Angela, for example, or anyone else who wants to stand up for the vegan baking, to please point me in the direction of a vegan recipe that is delicious.
Oh my God! We went to a restaurant.
I'm talking about one I can make at home from baking.
Okay.
Secret Creek Cafe is not giving me the recipe for everything they made.
No.
It is not happening.
But you're going to have a crack at the Shireen, aren't you?
We'll talk about that.
All right, we will.
So,
because that's the second challenge.
Angela.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Angela. Look, Angela, I like you. I think you're great. I think you're wonderful. I think you're fantastic. I think your bakes have a lot of creativity to them. I think you are a wonderful baker. I think you are a very skilled member, and I could hardly picture this show without you. However, put matcha in another bake. This friendship's on rocky ground.
Our friendship is still strong, Ange.
It's already vegan week, and I'm already sort of tipsy a little bit on the idea of what's going on here. And then matcha happens, and I might have yelled at the TV.
But Christopher John Buchanan, like our delightful audience, don't seem to have a problem with matcha. No one else bitches and moans about it.
No, our delightful audience seems to like pointing out to me where the matcha is.
Exactly. Like,
that doesn't mean they don't have a problem with it.
Through your hate of matcha, you've actually made people like it more because of the trolling they can do for you. So every time matcha appears on screen, whether it's Bakeoff or MasterChef, suddenly you're like popularity. In fact, I'm pretty sure at one stage your hate for matcha probably had it trending on Twitter because everyone was just tweeting you #matcha, #suckitbuchanan, #ha.
An individual who I will not name.
Josh?
No, I'm not going to name this individual for confidentiality reasons, told me that they had a discussion about matcha.
Right.
And they had this discussion about matcha. Now, look, it was over beer, so probably not matcha's core audience. Did say that the unanimous decision was that matcha tasted like a mouthful of spinach and Brussels sprouts. And look,
stop reading your own tweets, Buchanan.
It wasn't my tweet. It was not my tweet. This was a discussion I was having with an unnamed individual who told me that was what they had found out. And I agree with that group sentiment, and I would like to share a beer with those people at some point in the near future. And I don't really drink beer, so there you go. So, Dan. Now, Dan was making vegan cherry ripe. Almond meal and macadamia with a coconut layer on top as well. Now, what I found interesting about the cherry ripe was he decided that the best way for him to do the cherry ripe was to use strawberry. To extend the cherry flavour. Now, I would think that would alter the cherry flavour.
When McDonald's used to use Choco
to do an apple pie.
But then Chocos became too expensive, so they actually had to start using
apples. It was cheaper to make apple pie with apples, it's true. I found it interesting as a concept. I've always thought that cherry it's a stronger flavour than strawberry. But it's more, I don't find those flavours similar enough where I feel like they blend as well. Apparently they did.
And I just want to meet the dickhead in the olden days.
No, tell us what you think.
Okay. Who in the olden days, when they were flavouring cough syrup, invented that, I'm going to use air quotes here, cherry flavour that tastes nothing like cherries.
What's the best cough syrup on the market?
I don't know.
It's Ricodine. And why is Ricodine the best cough syrup on the market?
Stops you from coughing.
And it tastes like strawberry.
Ooh.
And it actually tastes like strawberry. We have it. That's the one I make you buy.
Oh, okay. I never tasted it because it's for you.
Yeah. But
I'll just go and have a swig of Ricardine after
go
this.
for it by all means. It's wonderful. It's delicious.
Look at me in my middle age.
Kids, go and swill like just a full... No, don't do that.
Do I need to make a flaming Homer out of it?
You could. Don't know what made it, but fire made it good. So, look, it's an interesting concept from Dan, the idea of extending sherry flavour by using strawberry. It was interesting, though, because flavour was... And I know you can come up with alternatives, but flavour was a bit of an issue for people because they were trying to work out how to get the richness of flavour or the deep flavours that they would normally get, but without some of the ingredients. Like, for example, butter is a cheat code. Look, it purely it is. Butter is a cheat code. Dairy is a cheat code.
Yeah, but then, I think that we don't have to be constrained by that.
I don't think we have to be constrained by it, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the idea that it was interesting to watch people work out how to extend flavours when they didn't have access to any form of dairy.
Absolutely, and I think it's really interesting to watch, particularly with the creativeness and inventiveness, because there have been so many years of inventive vegan cooking now that the bakers have a lot of resources to draw on. So
look, I think it's good.
When we've seen the chickpea meringue done last year in the Great British last season,
we did. I burnt that from my memory, but let's go back to it. Yeah, no, it happened. It did happen. Look, to be honest with you, I've talked about this before. Watching it, I actually liked watching it. And I know it was divisive for some people on Twitter. I liked watching it because I like watching the bakers have to be inventive and have to do things that are not what they'd normally do.
Plus, you learn new stuff. It's not the same old butter, eggs and milk.
Would I necessarily like to be the person sampling everything?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't. But I like the creativity they have to show, and I like the fact that it demonstrates a range of extra skills. And for me, what I get out of this is that skill development, and I like that. I really do like that.
Plus, it's inclusive baking.
It is inclusive baking.
Because we're not only talking about the people who choose not to eat meat, but, we've got a friend who can't eat meat. Some fucking tick came down and bit him, and he's been cursed by he will die if he eats meat.
I would have Thelma and Louise it off a cliff. I'm not going to lie. That would have meant the end of chorizo, and that really just would have been the end of me.
I'm glad to see how the loves in your life really just
line up.
Chorizo, meat, me. It's like
you left Liverpool Football Club off the list.
Oh, sorry, chorizo. No, Liverpool Football Club, chorizo, meat, me. Okay, Liverpool Football Club, chorizo, meat,
No, you're definitely in the top 4. I'll ponder that order and come back to you.
Chorizo, Liverpool Football Club, meat, me. I've got it now. I've hit the nail on the head.
Anyway, so...
I'm not too sure after this podcast if we'll be able to use the Liverpool unofficial song.
No, we won't be able to, unfortunately,
because you may be walking alone.
It may be.
Oh no, we've gotten to that horrible... I feel like we're being cursed by Big Vegan. Because, we're going to
talk about Big Vegan.
The big banter of, we're a married couple. Oh, you don't love me as much as you love chorizo and your football. Well, I'm going to divorce you. Up next, folks, Battle of the Sexes.
I refuse. I am not going on Battle of the Sexes with you. That is not happening. Does that mean Laugh at Ed Phillips is going to be involved? Because no, not happening on any way, shape or form.
Followed by Man Oh Man.
No, Rob Guest is not working that much anymore. So
I think we can make exceptions for Don't Forget Your Toothbrush.
Everyone can make exceptions for Don't Forget Your Toothbrush. Where do you want to go? Dubai. Where don't you want to go? Lithgow. So anyway, David at this point was getting some help from Sonny because he's like, I don't understand really the flavours. I can't get the peppermint flavour in this slice. Can you have a taste of it? And I love this because Sonny just turned around and went, you know what? Go by your gut. And David's response was my gut says to go get eggs and butter and make it properly. Thank you, David. Look, David was making peppermint slice with a sponge base and a cashew peppermint cream, and the way that he decided to get the extra peppermint was actually to get more mint leaves and grind them up and put them in there, and they were trying to get that balance right. And I said it was a fascinating thing to watch David, who is clearly not a vegan baker,
like
balance it up.
There is David's natural habitat running amongst Kranskis and pork chops, and he is in the barren desert of vegetables.
What I really enjoy, by the way, is we've entered Vegan Week in a week where I gave our smoker a test run and did a very large pork brisket, a very large beef brisket. Anyway, Sunny was then talking about her favourite study snack. Now
What was yours? What is your study snack of choice?
First of all, I have to study, but
that's true. You have to set the study.
True, but I didn't really have one of choice. I mean, pretzels were easy.
Yeah, pretzels. Me, pretzels and tzatziki.
So I didn't bother with dipping anything because it would just slow down the process of eating the pretzels.
Okay,
dipping is an extra motion of which I am not accustomed to.
Cheese and bacon balls are also my favourite.
Although the weird one that I used to do all the time, you know, the crunch, the seafood, the seaweed snacks, the rice snacks.
Yeah.
I used to do just a bag of rice snacks on their own, like a big bag of rice snacks.
Jeez.
Not for everyone going at home going, oh, you mean the flat? No, I mean the little rice crackers, the ones that are different colours and shapes with seaweed and stuff on them.
They're cool.
I would do a large bag of those frequently and just forget that I'd eaten the whole bag. And I'd look at it and go, that's gone.
But I'm through my taste.
Whoops. But on the plus side, you know, I've had some seaweed in there, so life's good. Sunnies.
Yes.
Now, what do you think up to this point the weirdest study snack or snack we've ever heard of is? I'm thinking British Bakeoff. I'm thinking a movie snack.
Fugasse.
I'm thinking Fugasse.
Yes.
Is this weirder than Fugasse? A date dipped in peanut butter with a raspberry and then cocoa nibs. There's a structural build going on here.
There is. It's not like us, which is mindless eating. Like maybe that's why Sunny's done it. Like you have to stop and actually construct this unless she pre-makes them. But I'd like to see how she came to that. Like, was it, like she was watching the Ready Steady Cook or something? She's like, I'm just going to use what's in my fridge. And she's like, I've got raspberries and peanut butter and cocoa nibs. And we've all seen the Terry loves cocoa nibs. Anyway, and is that... How did you do it? How did you discover this, Sonny?
I'd like to know, but my other point about this...
was it a tasty video on Facebook?
Okay, so my other question is, the legitimate question here, is that the right order of build? Because I'm thinking if you put the date, then you put a raspberry, then you use 4 different cocoa nibs and dip it in peanut butter, you've got a person. And you've made like mini date people with like raspberry heads and cocoa nib limbs and peanut butter hair. And right there, it's one of those little fun-sized snacks the kids can have.
I think the peanut butter needs to be used as a binding agent because I think...
So it's structurally integral to the piece.
Yeah, because like the raspberry itself is going to slip off the date.
Don't you hate it when the raspberry slips off your date?
Oh,
nothing worse.
Just trying to shove that raspberry onto the date.
So what she actually made...
Stick it right in there.
What she actually made, it was a tribute to this, but the tribute to this really only included 2 parts of it. So it was oat and coconut...
Look, it wasn't the actual snack.
No, it was...
It was just a tribute.
It was an... She couldn't remember the greatest snack in the world. It was just a tribute. It was an oat and coconut base with peanut butter and date with a rhubarb compote. Rhubarb. Now, poor Win, because, like, first of all, Matt did wonder in there about the Star Baker curse. A few times he wondered out loud about the Star Baker curse, which first of all shows the machine is becoming sentient. That they're aware. But secondly, Win did kind of at one point threaten it. Now, he decided it was doing the dark chocolate and pistachio slice with raspberry and white choc centre and the raspberry jelly. Now, the raspberry jelly... He loudly announced that he was going to use agar. And everyone at home went, oh no. Because we all, when we watch Bakeoff, have some experiences with agar. It never sets properly. It either undersets...
or oversets.
Or you could build a house with it.
Like...
Winds turned into a house.
I feel like agar really is...
The name of a spy?
A spy. But also the elite alchemy of baking.
It is. I don't know how anyone uses agar properly.
you know, like they read about it in the Baking Alchemist text. You know, it's like how to turn brownies into gold, how to create the alchemical union of eggs and butter and cyanide that doesn't kill people. I'm just guessing
it's in
from
there.
the esoteria of
it
baking.
Has to be.
And so it must be that the proper use of agar-agar. I mean, I think Yan is possibly the only person.
Yan is possibly the only person I've seen use agar-agar really effectively. Someone will remind me.
She's
probably
an alchemist.
Somebody will remind us on Twitter that no, I think you'll find.
Yan.
Yeah. So Don. Now, first of all,
Don is good.
First of all, Don, shirt game as always. On point.
And like his shirt game was on point, but I also have to say Claire's outfit tonight,
it was stunning.
I fucking loved it, and she was channeling 11 from the latest series of Stranger Things.
She was, and look, I'm always here for a good butts outfit too.
Yeah,
and the blazer is working wonders this year.
And she was also like, oh yeah, Mel Buttle. Yeah. But I'm thinking like Claire just needed to have like some funky, like fake bass driven 80s song going do.
Wait till next week when she's got like a little bit of blood just trickling from one nostril.
But then she
full
needed
tribute
to like, you know, doing an outfit kind of montage, like pulling back the curtain in the dressing room and you know, then puts on something wacky and then you just have Mel Buttle just shaking her head.
Does this bode really badly for the finale though?
Why?
Because, like, does this mean we're going to have something come up from beneath the earth and...
Oh, my God, the upside down in the shed.
No, I don't want the upside down in the shed.
Is that what's brewing in the shed of ice? Is that where Z is? Is Z Barb?
Is that what was wrong with Laura? The upside down
got her. Laura is Barb. Z...
Justice for Barb.
Justice for Barb. Justice for Laura.
Laura, if you're trapped in the upside down, give us a signal. We don't know what it is.
So who is the Demigorgon?
I don't really want to say Matt, but anyway. We do love Matt, by the way. Before everyone goes, oh, they really hate Matt. No, we love Matt Moran. So Don was making his own vegan chocolate.
Yep.
And what I loved was...
What I'm now picturing is that he's now got a friend he's getting Anston and dipping him in chocolate. He's making his own vegan chocolate.
Anston's going, well, it's fair. So...
Help, there's a nut in my eye.
What was really funny, though, was Matt walks over and he's like, so what do you got there? And he does it. And then Don's like, I'm making some vegan chocolate. And he just looks at me, and what are you going to do with that, Don? It's like... Have you not noticed there's a fucking challenge going on?
We're making a slice. You told me to make a 3-layer slice.
Just doing what you said.
How long is the podcast? Like, we are not even through the first fucking bake yet.
We got time.
Okay, good.
Angela, so then we got to my favourite part of these sorts of episodes, which is the tin montage, where you had to take everything out of the tin. And the highlight was Angela and Claire. So all season on the drinking game, I've had... one of the hosts distracts a contestant at the wrong moment, and this week I didn't put it on the card. Sure enough, cut to Claire coming over and going, what are you doing? And Angela's like, oh my God, this is the scary part. And Claire looks at her and goes, I've come at the bad bit, haven't I? And she's trying to get the thing out of the tin.
Title of your sex tape.
Now, Wynn's agar was there, and he pulled it out and he's like, let's have a look. And he's like, the knife was bouncing back. That's how hard it had set. The knife was going nuts. And the other bit of I loved about the agar-agar was when Maggie Beer took her bite. Yeah. And clearly, she was one of those ones where the agar-agar just stayed, and she just like pulled everything from the bottom out, like she was sucking it all out, and just holding the layer of jelly.
But she's saving it for later. She's going to go, trimampoline! Just afterwards, Maggie out the back bouncing on the agar jelly.
Now that's also what she's going to have installed at Stately Beer Manor now, an agar tramp.
And then she's going to be, she is a bouncy Maggie.
So
she goes bouncing in the juice.
The judging. So Dan, they said that they looked cute, the flavour was good, and that the cherry and strawberry actually worked quite well in terms of extending the flavour.
Could be said about his bake, could be said about Dan.
Either or.
Looks cute.
David, they said, before they got over there, David goes, well, I've hit the brief on consistency. They're consistently poor. Now, when they tasted them, they were like, they're not a complete disaster, which is what Matt said, because he goes, you can pick them up. Now, if you look at how Matt picked it up, though, he had the spatula, and he wasn't picking it up with his hand, because you couldn't, it would have fallen apart. But he's got it on the spatula going, look, you can pick it up.
It's sliced.
And then Maggie turned around, had
like if you sliced poo.
Then Maggie turned around and said, had a bite.
Melting.
And then went, they would have been so good. And I'm like, well, you tasted them and you liked them, so clearly
they are.
They said the flavour was great, but obviously there were some difficulties.
Structural integrity issues.
Sue, they said they cut well. They said they were crispy on the bottom. The flavour was good, but they said they were far too dry. Don's looked luscious and gooey, and what I did like about Don, when they're trying to find the words to describe it, Don went gooey, and they went, yes, very gooey. I'm like, well done, Don. They said the flavours were really good. Angela, now they said there was a bit twee in the presentation, which I like the fact that we got the word twee.
Of course.
It's always good when you get twee. They said it needed a bit more raspberry. The base needed to be a bit thinner. I did notice when Angela got hers out of the tin, it was significantly larger than everyone else's in terms of the height. She went for height in construction. Now, Anston, unfortunately, made one layer. It was a 3-layer bake. He made one.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, that's the only reason they probably found to not make him star baker.
That, and they did describe one of his cupcakes as dry. And as we know, it's a drought, and you're just trolling a farmer there.
Exactly. Well, again, Matt's really serious about the drought. It was beautiful eating, however, but Matt did say it was great eating, but he hadn't answered the brief. Wynn, they said it looked amazing. Matt spotted the firm jelly was a mistake because Wynn tried to go, I wanted a bit of a firmer jelly, and Matt looked at him and goes, you've seen this before. You've tried to sell this as deliberate.
It's like, I could just see Matt restraining himself from doing a Gordon Ramsay meme, This jelly's so firm it could have been used for implants. Like,
they said that everything else was great, though. Sunnies, they said they were all perfectly identical. They said there were clearly 3 layers. We got many wow noises from the judges. And we got the phrase buttery without butter. Well, they had peanut butter, so technically. And this was the start
it had nut butter.
This was the start of a trend.
Yes.
And the start of the trend was Matt turned around and said to Sonny, I'm going to take a couple of those. I want a couple of those packaged up to take home. Who in production keeps forgetting to feed Matt Moran?
Craft services.
What are you doing? Because clearly this season they keep threatening to steal food from the shed. Later on, we get to the showstopper, and Matt again goes, I want a bunch of those boxed up, I'm going to take them with me. Why does he feel the need to steal all this food from the shed? Is no one feeding him? What's going on at Aria?
Yeah, just...
Can he not walk into the kitchen at Aria and go, someone make me something?
Just jump in a water taxi. Surely there's Uber Eats water taxi, right? Which just pulls up at Aria at Circular Quay and speeds off down through the harbour out to Concord there.
Yeah, for the shed.
So the water. When
they got to the technical, the first thing they did was the joke they told was about this was scary and risky. No, we're not talking about waking Maggie up from her nap.
Well, when she's...
How does one wake Maggie Beer from a nap?
Okay, so picture this. There's Maggie lounging upon her dragon hoard of golden butter.
Yes.
She's just there gently and beautifully just snoring away.
The wind rustling through the verger's fields.
Exactly. It's all very peaceful. Now, what I imagine is that there has to be a parade of people walking by with possible snacks that she likes to eat. Like maybe some figs will come past, or maybe some nice cheese or whatever. And there has to be a parade of them.
And all of them. Yep.
And then Maggie will just sense. She'll just awaken from her dream when she smells and senses the correct food that she desires at that point in time.
See, I think it's something similar. But I think my difference in it is, I don't think you wake her up with the joy. I think what happens is everyone walks through with all these foods that Maggie loves, and I think the procession happens non-stop to help her sleep.
Right.
I think that there are just servants whose job it is to just walk in a circle around her carrying the food stuff she loves.
Right.
And when they need to wake her up, they get her a chili and pecan bubblegum slice.
Oh, no.
And they just walk around the bed, and the waft is what makes her sit up and go, what is this? And she's awake.
See, I think that might be a new addition to her thing, because maybe she become used to all the other food.
She was lulled to sleep with the others. She was lulled to sleep.
Like, there's so much butter now, it is just cancelling
Counting sheep. She's not counting sheep. She's watching figs jump. Yeah. Figs jump.
But there's so much butter in her hoard now that it just cancels out any of the other smells. So she's gone, do it. Just bring out the bubblegum slice with pecans and chili.
Yep.
And she's now waking up cranky, which is why we're getting a bit more evil Maggie.
100%. So the technical.
Don't you love that evil Maggie?
Evil Maggie's a great thing.
It's still...
Hey, she comes out again in this one. So... we're going to talk about Evil Maggie in a minute. So the technical was a vegan terrine. Now, I'm going to give you the instructions that Matt gave them. I like distinct layers.
Yep.
A soft touch. Packed tight. And go for gold. Now, I immediately went Olympic Games. I immediately thought the 1988 Olympic campaign with the "You're Not Alone" song.
God.
Because I always go back to that when I think Olympic Games.
Whereas I just go to the Roaring HGs. Go, you good thing. Go and going hard.
Go, you good thing.
It should make sense because you've got to pack it in. So
go, you good thing. Put a gap in them. Go, you good thing. Go. It makes a lot of sense.
Actually, don't put a gap in them.
No, don't put a gap in them. Pack it really tight. Part of the problem that Angela had in this, as we'll find out, was there was a gap in them. So everything was included in the recipe. Now, you know it's bad when everything is included in the recipe.
Yeah.
2 hours, 45 minutes. Now, when they went out and they were tasting the terrine, Maggie got a bit forceful again. So every time Matt's been Matt's bake, Matt's sort of cut it up.
She was hungry because they're not being fed.
100% Craft Services is not on the ball because...
Do we need to make sure that they're fed? Like, next
care
time
packages.
They're filming, we need to send your care package.
100%. So,
care of Fremantle Media.
Maggie cuts the terrine. Matt cuts the terrine, and Maggie just looks at Matt and goes, "Well, come on, hurry up, give me..." Like,
she went very Bruno on it.
She's been very Bruno on it. It's been scary. Why are they all hungry?
Because we've worked out the Craft Services is just on a budget now, apparently.
You know what's not on a budget?
What?
This show, because they use saffron.
Oh, yeah. That's where your Craft Services budget went.
Saffron.
Saffron.
Now, it was sort of the way they had to construct it. So you had
saffron really as expensive as it was? Because I remember when it was expensive and they were getting all excited because they could cultivate it in Tasmania.
I thought you were about to get all internet there for a second there and go, is saffron a sandwich? No. What I liked about this too, you had the purple carrots as one layer. You had the mushroom.
It's not a galette. That was
it is a galette. No, the galette
was around it.
I can't remember what it was. Anyway, someone will yell at us.
God damn it, Chris!
So you had all the different. The capsicum layer. I like that charred capsicum layer. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
I could have just done the charred capsicum layer. The galette around the outside we'll talk about in a moment too. So David did point out that in the recipe when they came over and looked at his bench and they were, "But David, look at your bench," and he goes, "I don't see anything on the recipe that says clean up." And look, I never see anything on the recipe that says clean up. It explains it. Then we got to the moment of making the galette.
He really was your Patronus tonight.
He was. Then we get to the moment of making the galette.
Yes.
And you know who would be proud of everybody in that shed?
Mr. Robert Harwood.
You know why Robert would be proud of everyone in that shed?
One pan
Robert. It was one pan. It was one pan only. You know what, Robert? The problem was you were one series early. If you would have nailed this. All right, so... the layering became the interesting part as well because you had to get the construction right and you had to pack everything in as they said. So you had to push it all down. You had to get the layers right. There were people struggling to work out what direction to put the carrots, which sounds like a weird thing to say, but they actually did have to be a certain direction. And I love that Mel's helpful instruction.
One direction?
There was. Mel's helpful instructions to Win.
Yes.
Was when she came over and goes, well, you know what, you can wrap bacon around it. No, you can't. And Win just looked at her and went, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And then there was also the moment where Claire and David were sitting on the floor watching it, and they're having, I think they're having a cup of tea at the top, and Claire looks and goes, packed tight? And David goes, it's about as tightly packed as Dan's abs. And Claire looks over the edge of the shed, looks at David and goes, I doubt that.
I'm sure that's what's going on though. While Dan's down there and they're watching the bakes, he's just there, stomach crunching away. Like,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He doesn't have a timer.
Follow me.
Yeah. Dan doesn't have a timer. He just goes it by ab crunches. Okay, bake for 40 minutes. That's 600 ab crunches. All right, let's go.
I'd like to think that there are alternating things that he does in the downtime. So I'd like to think, for example, when they get to the signature bake, I'd like to think that he's doing some chemistry. And then I'd like to think that in the technical, if he's got some time in the technical, he's talking to his followers on Instagram and looking to get more likes and get him to smash that like button. Then, in the showstopper, then there's some form of sciencey concoction that he's putting on Instagram, blending his two loves.
Right, but when does he exercise? When are you throwing that in? Or is he exercising while sciencing?
On Instagram while talking live.
Oh, okay.
Because that brings in the followers. So, poor Angela had her stick on the corner and so did Don.
Okay. I just have to say something about Instagram people, right? So, okay, sorry. Pause here for a second. So, a delightful woman at work just went trekking in Nepal recently. And she's a trekker from way back, before it was cool and whatever.
Live long and prosper.
Yes. She didn't go to Everest. She went to some other kind of what was off the beaten track. She goes, the last time I was there, she goes, there was barely any facilities. It was just, real hardcore trekkers were there. She goes, this time I went, because there are people walking around in full faces of makeup. There's glamping tents, everything there. Yep. She saw this one girl struggling to take a photo. She's like, oh, here, I'll take a photo for you. She goes, what should have been just a simple point and click took at least 20 minutes of this woman scouting the perfect area. Then she had to undo her hair and ruffle it out. Then she sat down, struck a yoga, like a meditation pose. And then not only did she have to take the photo, the girl then had to come and check to make sure it was okay. And then take a couple more and then come back. And then she walked off. And I'm like, what, she didn't continue the meditation? And my colleague was like, fuck no, she just went off to, do her hair again. So...
No, one of the problems they're having with Everest at the moment is there's lines. Not a joke. They're having problems on Everest because there's all these people that worked out the lowest level you can get on Everest, and so they all just go over to go to the lowest level to say they've done it. So I like Don's response, by the way, to his terrain sticking, which was, I can patch that. Don, the can-do baker. That's the experience of working with classic cars. It's the classic cars and I can fix that.
Ow, Don's aprons.
And I ask you, is he any good? Yes, he is. So night judging again, which I'm really enjoying the night judging, I've got to say. Now, Don's, they said the outside was rough, but it cut beautifully and it tasted great. Angela, they said there was an issue with it not being packed really tight. And they said there was nothing glaringly huge, it was just little mistakes. Suze, they said it looked great, it was well laid and it ate well. Dan, they said it kept its shape well. They said the vegetables were cooked really well, but it was under-seasoned. Now, the reason it was under-seasoned we didn't mention, Dan announced very loudly while he was putting it together, I don't put salt in it, I don't really like salt. Now, the problem is you're
It's
serving...
the anti-salt bay.
He is anti-salt bay. But he's serving this to Matt and Maggie.
Ooh.
Who love salt.
Yeah, and you've already denied them butter.
Yeah, don't deny them
eggs,
salt, man. They're crushed.
No honey.
So Anston, they said it looked amazing. It was perfectly formed. It cut well. It was the best layers and it was perfectly cooked.
Yeah.
It seems pretty glowing to me.
Yep.
Win, they said the shape was good. The shine meant that it unfortunately was ultra oily. And it was weird. The oil had sort of gone halfway down. So the bottom half of it was really oily and the top half was great.
You know what, Win? You just shouldn't have given yourself permission to shine.
No, you shouldn't have. David...
Back away from the Vanessa Amorosi.
They did indeed
who apparently was everyone on the Masked
Everyone
Singer.
on the Masked Singer, who knew? And yet no one. David, they said it was really packed in firm. There were very distinct layers and it was seasoned really well. And Sunny, they said it was nicely baked. The seasoning was perfect and it was nice to eat. So, the positions. Angela, so we're going from last to first. So it was Angela, Don, Win, Dan, Sue, David, Sunny, and Anston won the technical.
Yeah.
Now, he then doubled down on the this could be my week thing because he got positive feedback in the first, even though he didn't have the layers, and he won the technical. And I was sort of feeling comfortable and confident with him at this point too. Sonny was obviously going to be right with him. And I thought it was a race in two. Apparently it was a race in two, just the wrong two. Because suddenly it was Dan. Which was interesting because Dan was middle of the pack in the technical. So are we getting to a point where the technical no longer matters, which is a big problem we've had with British? I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope it's a 1 week thing. I hope they were just all thrown off by, like, no eggs.
It's like the butter drought was real and it was really hitting home to Matt, you know. It's why he's so antsy about any dry bakes.
It's why Maggie was snatching at food. No butter. So the showstopper was 48 vegan cupcakes. 4 hours to do it in. Which gave us a great Mel Buttle line, which was, I'd like you to make a pulled pork nacho, but apparently that's not vegan. No, Mel, but it is delicious. So Matt and Maggie, they were going around, and so Sunny said that her benefit is that Matt and Maggie share her palate.
Yep.
Now, which one of them, because they do have some very different tastes. They have some things they both like.
Yep.
But there are things, for example, chili.
Yeah,
that's one. Pecans, that's another. Like, there are things that
divide them.
But
I have to ask, how is the sharing arrangement organised? Like, do you have a third of the pallet each? Do you
take one home on weekends?
Like, is it a rotational basis? You know, it's at Matt's 1 week, it's Sunny's the next week.
Or was she talking about pallets of supplies from Aria? And maybe Sunny's in the delivery business. And she's like, well, Matt and Maggie got my pallet.
Which is why, if she's delivering for Aria, then that's why Matt and Maggie aren't eating, because his regular food...
He's not getting the food. We've sorted it out.
Yeah.
Sorted. The upside down coming to life again. David, they said he made the carrot cake with red velvet and a vegan cream cheese as well. Matt turned around and tasted the cream cheese. He's like, you need to add flavour now. And David just looked at him deadpan and went, sugar.
Well, you know what's a shame? That Claire dressed up as Claire was channeling 11 this week, which is a vegan week, because otherwise someone could have made Eggos.
Oh, that would have been good.
It should have been hilarious.
Would have been perfect. So Sunny's were coconut and passion fruit, and chocolate and raspberry with pistachio. And in that regard, she is playing very strongly to both of them, the passion fruit in particular. Wynn made one. Everyone else did two. Wynn went, I'm going to make one, and I'm just going to make it really well.
Hedging your bets there, Wynn.
So I like
all on red.
But
all on molasses.
I kind of liked what Wynn did, though, because ginger and pear with molasses, it's a good combination.
And it also gave him time then to do different faces on his little gingerbread people.
It did. The gingerbread people drowning in his bakes were fantastic. Now, then we got to Sue. Now...
I'm dying in cake. That's a cool way to go, though.
It would be
cake.
What a way to go. Sue. So Sue did a red velvet with a tofu cream. That, in my book, is enough to get you deregistered as a baker.
If you had a choice between tofu cream and chickpea cream, what you going for?
Chickpea cream.
Of course you would.
You knew the answer to that question before you asked it.
If it's tofu cream and matcha flavoured chickpea cream, what are you going for?
Starvation. So, Sue, her second one was turmeric with coconut. Now, it was very yellow. Like, in the words of Coldplay, it was all yellow.
And turmeric is...
It's potent.
It really is. And it's not pleasant when it's out of balance. It really isn't.
And it looked strong. And they kind of hinted that it might be a bit strong and you might want to balance it. And Sue wasn't particularly interested in balancing it.
She's like, this is my recipe,
but this is what
bitches.
we do. I'm not changing it. And Matt and Maggie both went, yeah, and like Maggie turned around and went, oh, it could be good in the least convincing way I've ever heard Maggie Beer say that.
And she's usually
I've heard her say that
actress.
And I've heard her say that bubblegum cake might work. Like, I've heard her say those words. And I've heard her go, no, this chili might be fine. And it was less believable when she said the turmeric looked like it could be okay.
Yeah.
She did not believe a word of what she said. No. Angela went with salted caramel and vanilla buttercream with a lemon curd. Very smart from Angela. I'm fairly certain the lemon curd saved her.
Yes.
Angela was in a little bit of trouble this week. That lemon curd, though, it is, first of all, if you want to hook something to Maggie Beer's veins, lemon curd. Especially in a week where you can't use butter or things like that, make a good lemon curd. Maggie's
Sorted.
there. Don did chocolate with raspberry curd.
Yep.
And vanilla with creme pat. Now, I loved his vanilla with creme pat idea. It was my favourite thing of the night because he made it look like a chocolate top.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Good.
Look, just dipping things in chocolate it can only lead to good things.
Like the vanilla, the creme pat, then dipped in chocolate with the choc top, and it set, and it was just beautiful. It looked amazing.
I used to make choc tops when I worked at the cinema.
Nice.
It was my favourite thing to do. We'd all vie for the chance to make choc tops.
For the choc tops.
Yeah, we got into a bit of trouble because we thought we'd put a surprise at the bottom, like a little lolly, but then we found out that people might not appreciate that because they might be allergic or something.
Well, the other problem is, and this is a problem
sorry, but if you're... Okay, there was a big bucket of that quick set, like, ice magic stuff.
I think that quick set cement. Like, what the fuck were you putting in your choc tops?
And I'm thinking, if you're not allergic to anything in that, you're not going to be allergic to, like, a gummy bear.
But, as people have found when they go to Cold Rock... The problem with Cold Rock and adding all the mix-ins is you put a gummy bear in ice cream, that fucker breaks your teeth.
Oh, it just freezes hard.
I used to like Cold Rock, and then the problem was when they used the shitty quality gummy bears and things like that, they put them in the ice cream, so they mix it up and they do all the chopping stuff and put it in, they go, there you go, there's your ice cream with your mix-ins, and you go, oh, cool, it's going to be ice cream and gummy bears, and you take a bite, and it just about rips your face off.
Never did it with gummy bears. I'm more of a kind of honeycomb.
So I used to do sour and gummy bears were good. Ugh. Yeah, I wanted the sickly sweet at that point.
Did you see the Hungry Jack's burger done, or like the Burger King burger done as a Cold Rock ice cream?
Yeah, it was disappointing.
I thought it actually makes it easier for people who have can't eat solid foods. Like there's your hamburger in ice cream form.
No. So Anston then turned around into the camera and just went, well, I've brushed my cupcakes with vodka.
Yeah.
And I'll brush them again. And then he went, I just don't want to get Matt and Maggie drunk. Bullshit. That was your problem. Your strategy should have been get them pissed. Booze in a bake, which, by the way, was on the game card again tonight. So just quickly, while we're running down all this, the game card this evening... just for those people playing along at home who may have forgotten to drink on something. Baker Mrs. Butter. That happened. Check. I wouldn't know it's vegan. Matt said that about a dozen times. Check. The audience was told the particular baker is vegan more than once. Check. Technical is called deceptively difficult. It wasn't. It was just fucking hard.
Yeah.
Maggie says a bake is not too sweet. No, she didn't do that. A baker ignores advice from the judges. Hello, Sue. Booze in a bake. Hello, Anston. Matcha. Angela, we've had that chat. Reference to bacon. Check. So you should be quite tipsy right now, and this podcast should be far more hilarious than it has any right to be. So, Dan. Dan made vanilla with strawberry jam and chocolate with salted caramel filling and peanut butter frosting.
And wasn't Matt enamoured with the strawberry jam?
That strawberry jam. Dan's strawberry jam. Like, Dan, I need a jar of that.
Damn, Dan.
The strawberry jam, man. I need a jar of that strawberry jam, apparently, because it was apparently brilliant. I did like David, where he went, vegans can be quite temperamental, and I think it's to do with eating this cream. Look, David was just firing the barbs.
Yeah. Look, he was there, but he was there under protest.
He was.
He was the teenager, the 14-year-old you've dragged along to the family event at fucking,
I don't want to be here, but I'll fucking unwrap the presents. Yeah. So Anston actually made dark chocolate and lavender. And the lavender piping that he did was sensational. And the mojitos looked really good. Now, I think where Anston went wrong in terms of being Star Baker was the third time he turned around to the camera
and said, I'm
going to be Star Baker.
Oh.
Stop jinxing it.
Don't talk yourself up.
3 goes at it.
Just
you jinxed yourself, then you unjinxed yourself, then you re-jinxed yourself.
Because the Bakeoff gods do not admire hubris.
No, they don't at all.
No, flying, careful, Icarus.
Careful, Icarus. Now, you know what you could have done,
What?
Anston?
Yes.
You could have sought some extra assistance.
You could have indeed.
There's only one place to seek extra assistance. We know all about that.
Holy shit, what's that in the wall? Oh, is that... Oh my god!
Oh, wow.
Hello, my name is 11. You can call me Elle. I'm here because I heard that you're going to be talking about my favorite digital magazine focused on cake decorating and sugar art. The Australian Sugar Craft is the magazine for you. A full-color digital magazine with step-by-step tutorials, recipes, tips, and ideas. You can even read it in the upside down. Subscription is an annual cost of $19.90 AUD, receiving 2 issues per year. Go to facebook.com/Australian Sugar Craft. I must go back now. I fear that the Demigorgon is going to get at all my friends, and I have a clothing montage that I need to engage in.
Oh my god. I feel like she's going to co-host Bakeoff one day.
You can just sense that after she's done, rescuing her friends from the upside down and all those hijinks, and when she has a big breakup with Mike or something, she'll be just hosting Bakeoff.
Her and Claire and Mel will be a trio.
Yes.
So the judging, Dan. They said it had a narrative.
Every opening will be a dress-up montage.
True.
Yeah.
They said there was a narrative and a reason for what he did. The strawberry jam made the vanilla one, and Matt just could not get enough of that. And they said the chocolate one was interesting because while Matt loved the strawberry jam, Maggie nudged Matt with the chocolate one.
And Matt's gone, she nudged and whacked me. I got a nudge and a whack.
Now, Matt was concerned with Wynn's raw mix, but when they tasted it baked, they liked it. Funny about that, Matt. Look, when this wasn't cooked, it was shit. But now you've cooked it, it's good.
Yeah.
Go figure. Don, they said the choc top looked really good, but the cake was a bit dry, and they said the creme pat was rubber. But they said that his second cake, the chocolate, was sensational.
There we go.
Really loved it. So that means Don's hanging around. Sue, Matt again suggested too much turmeric. Sue said he was wrong. Matt tasted it again and said, no, I'm right. Maggie also then agreed that it was dry and overpowering, which basically sounds like turmeric in a cake. The second cake, unfortunately for her, was gluey, but good flavour.
Maggie is all about the good mouthfeel at the moment, and I don't think gluey is quite what
the mouthfeel she's after. Angela went with a naughty and nice theme, which we forgot to mention. The chocolate cake, the naughty, was fudgy, which was good.
Facing Maggie.
Yes.
Because she's evil.
Evil Maggie.
She is evil.
But they did say that the chocolate had the wrong icing on it, and that put it out of balance. But the lemon curd, as we said, on the nice ones was a winner. David, so the carrot cake was really good. Matt loves it. Matt was worried about it. He's like, I've never had a vegan carrot cake before. And I'm like, it's just chopped up carrots. Makes sense. Maggie didn't like the icing on David's second cake, however, but they said the carrot cake was strong.
Yeah.
Now, Anston, they said the mojito was great, and Matt made specific mention of vodka.
Vodka, yes.
The lavender was good, but they said it was slightly dry.
And that just took Matt way back, to the drought affecting all the farmers.
And probably killed Anston's hopes and dreams. Yeah. Sunny, they said the taste was great. Matt absolutely loved it. Maggie gave us a beautiful mouthfeel comment. And then they said the chocolate cake was light and chocolatey to continue their ability of adding E onto the end of words this season, which is happening a hell of a lot this year. So the star baker was Sunny.
Yep.
They said that Dan was the other baker in the running. They did do a cut to Anston, who didn't look very happy about that. He had also, as we said though, jinxed himself 3 times.
Yeah.
Sue was the baker going home, and unusually for Bakeoff, Sue cheered.
She's going home to her gorgeous grandchildren
off the stool
and family.
She got off the stool and went, yes!
She's like, people who will appreciate my flavours and baking.
I'm making a turmeric cake when I go home.
Yes.
Can't wait.
And people will eat it and enjoy it.
So that was your episode of Australian Bakeoff for this week. That was Vegan Week. We survived.
Yep.
We got through it.
We did.
It's a big plus. So coming up, we have next episode is going to be Canadian.
Canadian.
Is International Week on Canadian.
Ooh, international.
Will we see an Australian bake? Who knows? I know the Queen of Accenting will be making a big appearance.
Oh, oui, she will.
International Week is the week you can't hold it down.
Come out with some Italiano.
When?
Or some Greek.
When? So...
You'll never know.
You'll never know when it's going to happen. That is the best Dutch accent I've ever heard. So, look out for that. Also linked to Canadian in the next week or so. Hopefully, we should have a certain wood nymph on the show.
It'll be good. See the gnome's home.
The gnome should be home, and hopefully then we'll get to have a bit of a chat with Liam.
Yep.
So look forward to that. And then obviously we're back next week with more Great Australian Bakeoff. So until then, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
And we will catch you all then.
Did you know it was Vegan Week?